Hi, my name is Giselle Thompson, and I'm hosting the speaker series, Live the Life That You Want. Here we'll learn practical ideas and strategies on how to overcome adversity, be happy, and live the life of your dreams. The reason I'm doing this interview series is myself, several years ago, I was feeling a little bit in a dark place, and there were sources and resources and information that helped me get out of it. Among them was the book, The Attractor Factor, and some of the other publications that Dr. Joe Vitale has published. And I'm so thrilled and feel privileged to interview Dr. Joe today. Just to tell you a little bit about Dr. Joe, so welcome. Thank you so much for coming.
Of course. Been looking forward to this.
Thank you. Just to tell you a little bit about Dr. Joe is he is the best-selling author of numerous books, including The Attractor Factor, Zero Limits, and Attract Money Now. And he participated in the Secret, the movie The Secret. There's also another interesting book that he's written that I've read called The Remembering Process. Very interesting way to approach your creative art. He's also the president of Hypnotic Marketing. And he has many professional clients, and he has many published books, and I'm a true fan, and I'm just so privileged and thrilled to have Dr. Joe here. And the main reason, besides the ones I've already listed, of why I wanted to interview Dr. Joe is what I learned in the book, The Attractor Factor, about the prayer process. And I grew up in a religious upbringing, and there were some pieces missing in the prayer process that I had learned. And the evidence that Dr. Joe presented in his book, The Attractor Factor, was so overwhelming that I decided I was going to try it out and give it a shot. And the two things that really came out for me in that prayer process was the part that I call clear the shit, but let all the stuff that's bugging you, that you're interacting with, the noise that's going on in your head, really try to let it go, let it out. There are different strategies that he shares to help you do that. And then the other thing that really struck me that I really experimented with was let it happen. So once you feel and feel like it's happening today, that thing that you want, stop thinking about it, stop worrying about it, let it unfold, because worrying about it, actually you are interfering with it happening. So I've experimented with those things and they work, and you'll develop your own little technique and your own little way of doing it. Dr. Joe is here to talk more about this and to help you gain some practical ideas and strategies on how to live the life that you feel deep inside that you know is there for you. Dr. Joe, over to you.
Well, thank you. Well, I want everybody to know that I might be sitting here as somebody who looks wealthy and famous with all the books and all the movies and all the things you've talked about. And now I'm a musician, and I've got 16 albums out, and I travel around the world doing speaking, and I've got my own television show that's going to be on Amazon. It's already shot. We got 14 episodes. And I can go on, but I want you to realize at one point in my life, I was homeless. I didn't even have a car, because people would say, what kind of car did you live in when you were homeless? A car would have been nice. I didn't have a car. I was in poverty for over 10 years. Those are 10 years. That's a decade of struggle, of clawing, of scrambling, of worry, of sleepless nights, of fear. All of the things that many people right now might be relating to and maybe even going through. And I'm pointing out that the person you see now went through all of that. So whatever you're going through right now is what I call temporary reality. It's temporary. And you can get out of it using some of the principles we're talking about, some of the principles I've been writing about, some of the principles we'll share in this short time together. So I want to begin by just saying, yeah, nice introduction from me. Thank you very much. But I want people to realize I did not start a success. I went through the dark night of the soul. And the good news for people watching or listening is that no matter what you're going through, you can get through it. You can build the life you want. You can build the life that you've been dreaming about. You can build it, you can live it, and then you can inspire other people, as I hope I'm doing today, or we are doing today. So that's my intro to the intro.
Well, thank you so much.
You're
So
welcome.
why don't we, so tell us, you when I was speaking with your representative, Carolyn, she's a lovely person. She told me that you felt that if you could speak to the secret prayer, you felt that would help with the purpose and the intention of this speaker series. Can I just hand it over to you to speak to that, and I will ask clarification questions as we go?
Sure. First of all, I'm willing to speak on anything you like, and I have enough books, including the one you mentioned, that it's helped you, the attractor factor, that we can talk about that. And there's 5 steps in that I can give a shorthand version to.
Sure.
The book that you just mentioned is called The Secret Prayer, and I wrote that because I wanted people to understand that most praying, because I know when I was struggling, I was praying because I was looking for any kind of help I can get. And if I can get help from the unseen, then bring it on. But most people, when they're praying, are begging. They're begging. And it's not a great place to attract anything or achieve anything or bring anything into your life. You're coming from a place of victimhood. You're coming from a place of feeling like, I got no power, I can't do it on my own, so somebody else do it. And I understand that, and I don't blame people from coming from that position, because we're all at those moments struggling, and we're reaching for anything that can help. But what I learned is that prayer does work, and I wrote the book called The Secret Prayer to explain this 3-step formula. So the first step in the prayer that I teach is to be grateful now. And I know how tough that is for a lot of people who said, because I used to say this, I'll be grateful when things fall into place. I'll be grateful when I have money, or I have the relationship, or I have the job, or whatever it happens to be. I'll be grateful when, fill in the blank. It doesn't work that way. What we have to do is come from the reverse and find something to be grateful for now, in this moment. As soon as we start to feel genuine thankfulness in this moment, we change our energy, we change our outlook, our mindset is actually opened up so we can see opportunities that were there all along, but because we were in survival, we closed off what was available, and our mindset and our perception wasn't open. So the very first step is gratitude. And people have to realize that we are given so much, we can't outgive the universe. We have air, we have these laws of physics and gravity and all these things that keep us alive without us doing anything. And then internally, we've got our heart and our lungs and the blood that's going through us that we're not controlling consciously, that is keeping us alive. We can start right there and say, thank you for my life. Thank you for my being. Thank you for the support system of the universe, or whatever you want to call this. And then you can look at your life itself. If somebody's watching this, they probably have a computer, or they have an iPhone, or they've got some sort of iPad. Be grateful for that. We live in this time of magic and miracles. My goodness, 100 years ago, none of this was available. And we go back centuries past, and the people who lived as king and queens lived as poor people do today. They didn't have air conditioning. They didn't have heat. They didn't have a lot of the things we take for granted. So all of this is to say, the first step of the secret prayer is gratitude. And you can begin with gratitude without needing anything else to come about in your life. You just look where you're at, and you start to find something and say something and feel something you are genuinely grateful for. And it could be a pen. It could be a cup. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be big. So that first step will change everything in your being right there. You will feel happier. You will feel more optimistic. You will feel more energetic. You will have a better outlook and a better energetic outlook towards life. The second step in the secret prayer is to make your request. What would you like to have in your life next? And it could be that you want more money. It could be that you want the soulmate or the relationship. It Could mean you want the house or the car, or maybe you want a spiritual awakening. But out of gratitude, which is the first step, you state your request, which is the second step. So you're not begging at this point. What you're doing is saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for everything I have. And wouldn't it be wonderful if I also received, and then fill in the blank. This is a very different kind of prayer than what most people do when they're begging. The third step in this is to, what I call is take inspired action. And what that means is you let go of your worry, because now you're trusting the universe, the divine, whatever you want to call this energy field that we're all in. You trust it to bring what you want to you and to place you in a situation where you can have what you want. But you also have to take action, because life is a co-creation. You don't just sit there like a zombie and wait for everything to come to you. You actually get nudges from within. The intuition, inspiration starts nudging you to make a phone call, to buy a book, to go to an event, to attend a seminar, to call an old friend, to go eat at a place you never ate before. There'll be some sort of nudge from within. You learn to act on those nudges because it's part of the co-creation process. And you don't know which one of those steps, and probably all of those steps, will actually lead you to the fulfillment of the thing you said you wanted in step 2. So the secret prayer explains all of this and narrates all of this in a much deeper way. But the 3 steps are: focus on what you are grateful for now. There's always something to be grateful for now. Then make your polite, detached request. What would you like to have in addition? Third, you take action while letting go of any need or attachment for things to work out. You act on your inspiration, you act on intuition, you act on opportunities. And that will help change your life right there. And you'll feel better instantly, because if you start with gratitude, no matter what's going on in your life, you will feel better right there.
Wow, okay, that's great. I do have some thoughts that came to mind as you were speaking that will, I think, extend, because that was very clear. And you said it was okay to kind of extrapolate a little bit.
Oh, of course. Yeah, bring it on.
Wonderful. So there's that whole notion of being creators in our life. Mm-hmm. And you've talked about co-creation. Yes. And when I was getting familiar with these kinds of ideas, it occurred to me that I had done a pretty darn good job co-creating a lot of stuff going wrong.
Right.
So I figured, what did I have to lose to co-create something going well? Mm-hmm. And in that journey, I learned about the power of us as human beings to create. We are, in fact, creators. Mm-hmm. And I think that ties in with the notions of flow. Mm-hmm. So I was wondering if you could just speak about that a little bit.
Sure, I would love to. We are creators. I like saying we're co-creators because we are participating in a game with the universe. It's not just us. I mean, you and I are right here together co-creating this experience. And then we have viewers, listeners, watchers, whatever it happens to be, who are part of this little game of manifestation. So it's not just me, it's not just you, and it's not just them. So I like saying we're co-creators, and it also takes the stress off of thinking, oh, I have to do it all myself because I'm the creator. No, you don't have to do it all yourself. But you do have some things to do. They're fun things to do. One of them is state your intention. Before we began this, you talked about all the intentions you were stating for this call and for your entire series, which I think is noble. I think it's wonderful. It's very loving. You want to make a difference. You are inspiring other people, including me, by doing this. But you were stating intentions to help you be clear about what you want to create. I stated an intention before I got on this call. You and I had not met before. All I knew was loose parameters about what you were trying to do here. But I stated my intention about being here, being present, being articulate, being inspired, being inspiring, all the things I can do to be of service to the people here. So this is part of what I'm doing to co-create. And we begin it by stating intentions. The average person doesn't state intentions at all because what they're doing is reacting to life. Something happens and they unconsciously react to it. And the unconscious is just going to give you your old programs, your old beliefs, your old way of reacting to things. And most of the time, it'll just give you the same old, same old. at some point, and it may be this moment for a whole lot of lucky people that are watching the show right now, it could be this moment when they have the awakening and they realize, oh, I can choose how I respond. I can actually create a different way of being, a different way of responding to the world. Now you're not reacting, now you are creating. So the whole idea of intentions is really powerful. And I think for me, getting out of homelessness, getting out of poverty, I didn't have things like this, and we didn't have the internet. That was back in the 1970s. A lot of people watching weren't even born yet. So I was doing this on my own. And so it took longer. The good news for all of us is that you can watch a show like this, get the information, get the practical tools, start to apply them, and now you can awaken to the idea that you are a creator, or, in my opinion, a co-creator of your own life.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. I have a couple of other things that I wanted to contribute. One was you talked about inspired action.
Yes.
And getting help, that we're not in this alone.
Right.
And around the time that I was trying to do things different, and some of the ideas, of course, that I read in your books helped, because I'm a reader. I read lots of books. Mm-hmm. And so I've received different ideas from a lot of different sources that I then kind of blend into my own version of it. And I'm a writer, and I've always been a writer, and I'm in my happy place when I'm writing. So I was thinking, my main medium, my primary medium is poetry and songwriting. But it's hard to feed 5 kids on poetry and songwriting. And I like speculative fiction, but same thing. So I'm like, okay, what can I write about? And I said, well, maybe a blog. Maybe I could do a blog. And I was kind of casting about in my mind, what could I write about? And I haven't mentioned it at the beginning, but it's in some of my it's in my blog that I wrote. But my husband has a disability, and we've been together for over 20 years, adapting our lifestyle around the disability. So I kind of got a flash of, well, why don't I write about my experience in that?
I saw that coming. Yes. Yes.
And then I will never forget, I was just barely piecing myself together of forgiving and letting go. And I was driving my minivan down the road close to my place. And I got a little tap on my shoulder say, you need to write about what you did when you hit your wall and what you did. I'm like, what? How do you want me to do that? I can barely piece myself together now. How am I going to carry all these people? And I just felt this big weight, And then I thought, but I kept feeling the tap. I'm like, okay, I'll do it, but I'm going to need help. And I remember just bawling, this emotional release. I'm going to need help. I cannot do this alone. So several years later, lots of reading, lots of thinking, in some ways, a complete paradigm shift in my brain. And now it's like, well, of course I can do it, because all I have to do is brighten my light, clearing the noise, and brighten the light enough for other people to discover it so that they can then brighten theirs. That's it. I'm like, well, you know what? I can do that. So that's what this series and my blog and everything that will unfold is really about. It's meeting my commitment to that mission.
That is beautiful.
Thank you.
I am so inspired by you, and I'm glad you shared that story, because everybody needs to relate to the idea that when they receive the inspiration or the intuition to do something that might seem bigger than what they can do, what they need to do is sit with it, much like you did, and wrestle with the beliefs. I really say we live in a belief-driven universe. Change your beliefs and you will get a different universe. And I got lots of stories about how I've done that with myself, because I had to change beliefs about homelessness and poverty to get out of it. But you were also changing your beliefs about what was possible for you. And as you changed your beliefs, you got to the place where you said, I can do this, which is wonderful. And the other thing I always tell people is, whenever you want to go for a dream you've never gone to before, whenever you want want to try a goal that's bigger than what you've ever done before, you're going to feel fear. You're going to have self-doubts. Only because you've engaged your comfort zone. You went to the limit of your comfort zone and you're about to cross it. And what you have to remember is that those feelings of doubt and insecurity don't mean don't do it. It doesn't mean don't do it. It just is an alert that says you're about to cross the line to stretch yourself to do something you haven't done before. Now, I've never gone mountain climbing, but if I decided to go mountain climbing next week or next month, I would have fears. I would have doubts. I would have insecurities. Why? Because I haven't done it before. But I also know I can read books, I can take classes, I can work out or strengthen whatever part of my body needs it, build the endurance, build the leg muscles, get the coach, get a trainer, whatever, practice on the small hills before I go to the mountain, and I will do it. And that's what you need to remember, and that's what you're illustrating with your beautiful story, is that everybody is going to get some sort of inspiration, some sort of intuition to do something. And it could be to open a business. It could be to write a book. It could be to travel. It could be to apply to some job that they've longed to do but don't think it's possible. And whenever those come up, that's when you have to realize, don't buy into the beliefs of limitation. Just realize it's an alert from your brain saying you're going to do something you haven't done before. You're not standing in traffic, which would tell you, get out of traffic. But this is saying you're going to do something you haven't done before. Take a deep breath, get your resources, your allies, and then do it. So thanks.
That's wonderful. And I do have one more question I would like to ask you around remembrance. But if you could just give me a moment to just set that up a little bit. I have the heart and soul of a bard. So I still want to do my poetry and my songwriting and my fiction writing. Absolutely. But because I'm also a mother and who wanted to have 5 children, I actually wanted 7. And that's important for me. I need to also accept my responsibilities to support them in a way that's helpful and we're not struggling. So my mission will help me do that and will also free up my time. It better, because that's why I'm doing it, to free up my time so I could have my mornings, for example, to write my poems, write my fiction, write my songs with my husband. And like, that's my dream is to, so this mission will help me achieve that dream. And in the process of dreaming, I also realized deep down what I really, really want to be able to do is to travel anywhere with any one of my family members, anyhow, anywhen, any way. And that's what really gets me up at 3 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning before I have to go into work. So what I loved about reading your book of creating from a remembrance point of view, I have, and I'm going to ask you to speak to it, but I'm just going to share with you what I've done. Yeah, I've imagined a room with many bookcases that the books that I've written or songs that I've done are all there, and I'm pulling them out. But I'm jumping ahead. So if I could just turn over the mic to you to help people understand how they can use the power of remembrance to also help them get to a place that they feel deep inside they can be at. They don't have to be struggling.
Yeah, glad to. Well, there's a couple of things I want to say, because you started talking about these different intentions you have, and you got a wonderful family. You also want to write your poetry. You also want to do this book that you just referred to. You stated them as separate intentions. And what I want to point out for you and any listening is that I found that if you sew the intentions together, so you have one complete statement of the fulfilled dream, you will feel more integrated in going to it. So in other words, it's not just raising your kids. It's not just being with your husband. It's not just the poetry, and it's not just this book you just referred to. It's all of those things. And so when you put them all together and say, I am energetically inspired, writing my poetry every morning, taking care of my family, going on trips with them as I write this book that becomes a bestseller, and whatever else is there. So when you state your intention, you can actually make it very complete. I think I talk about this a little bit in my book, The Attractor Factor, but it's the idea of not thinking in compartments, but thinking that your life is this one whole symphony, that it actually has all the instruments that play together. You just have to realize you're the conductor, and you actually put all of these fragments of intentions into one line, and that one line becomes your overall intention statement for your life.
Thank you. I'm already on it.
All right, good. I knew you'd pick up and run with that quick. And then the other thing you're referring to, I wrote a book with Daniel Barrett called The Remembering Process. And Daniel's been my producer and during the music producer for my singer-songwriter albums. And during the early stages of writing songs, I complained about being frustrated about trying to write songs because I've been an author writing full-length books. You know, when you're a songwriter, you have 3 minutes to tell your story. And I was trying to write songs to condense my self-help books into a 3-minute blast. You can imagine how much of a challenge that was. And Daniel said this wonderful phrase. He said, it's easier to remember than it is to create. And I thought, what does that mean? It's easier to remember than it is to create. And that led to him explaining the remembering process. And the remembering process is kind of like an advanced visualization technique. When most people practice visualization or mental imagery, you sit here and you imagine your future. You imagine that your book's done, or your business is up and operating, or you're receiving checks from sales, or you're going out on a date with your soulmate, or whatever it happens to be for the various people that are watching. And mental imagery is powerful. It's been known to miracles. I'm not dismissing it at all. I'm adding to it. The remembering process is a way to go beyond the fulfillment of your dream in the future, past it, and then you remember back to it. So it's a little bit intricate to get this the first time around, but with traditional imagery or visualization, you sit here and you imagine that your donut shop is open now, and you are getting all kind of traffic there, and business is booming, and you're cashing checks, and everybody walks out with their coffee and their espresso and their cookies, and they're smiling. And you visualize that. That's wonderful. That's energizing. That's a great thing to plant in the universe, and it'll give you motivation and momentum. But the remembering process would say, let's go 6 months out. Your business has already been up and running for 5 months, and you remember back to when it started, and you ask yourself, what are the various things you did to get it going? Did you advertise? Did you do social media? Did you go to breakfast groups and hand out muffins? Did you pass out business cards? And you kind of play with the idea of, how did I create that business that's already thriving? And you remember it. Mm-hmm. That, in a nutshell, is the remembering process.
It's a very exciting idea, and I've started experimenting with it, and I'm looking forward to doing more. But you said that you use that process for your CD, yes, right?
For yeah. In fact, my 6th album is out now. It's called The Great Something. These are all original songs. In fact, I had a songwriting lesson with Melissa Etheridge, who I've been a fan of for over 20-some years.
I'm a fan too.
I dedicated this album to her. That's her and I don't think you can see it. That's her and I right there. I'm at her home. I was in her home studio.
Oh, get out.
And we came up with different ideas, and I got coaching from her. But I used the remembering process to write all of the songs on 6 singer-songwriter albums, with The Great Something being the most recent one, and the one I think is the best, partly because of Melissa Etheridge and partly because I took action.
Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it? The world is your oyster now, because...
Well, it is for all of us, just that if some people are hearing it for the very first time, they're going to have that sense of disbelief. And I understand. I remember back in the 70s, early 80s, when I am broke and I'm struggling, but I'm going to free lectures. I'm reading the books at the public library. I'm reading The Magic of Believing, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Think and Grow Rich, all the famous success literature. And they're all telling me, you too can live the life of your dreams. But a part of me is going, maybe you mean everybody but me. And what you and I are saying is, no, we mean everybody. Everybody. That potential for change, the potential for breakthrough, the potential for greatness is in you, it's in me, it's in everybody. We might need the resources, we might have some work to do, we might have to read books, we might have to attend lectures, we might have to go to a seminar, we might have to learn to practice positive thinking more, set intentions more. But these are all creations of new habits that any of us can do. I'm for one, living proof of it.
It's very exciting. I really appreciate the time that you've taken to share this, and I really enjoyed the free flow of our conversation too. That was a lot of fun. So thank you.
Me too.
Was there a key message or one thing that, and maybe you've already said it, but it is always the final question that I ask interviewers. What is the one thing, like if everything that we've talked about, if the one thing that you would like them to remember about this conversation today?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I get asked variations of that from time to time. And usually I tell people the secret to success in their life is to follow their passion, to look within and to find out what they're passionate about and begin to pursue it, even if they don't know how they can make a living from it. But that's a secret. It seems to me, though, that I want to add something else, and that's the idea that you need to believe in yourself, even when there's no evidence around you yet that you're going to transform and have a different life, better life, more prosperous life. I know in the 1980s, I worked for an oil company at one point, and I didn't like it. I cried going to work, and I cried coming home. But when I was there, I went in early, and on my lunch breaks and after work, I worked on my first book. And I remember there were people that actually made fun of me. They saw me staying in, and I was working on a book, and they would say things, not thinking I could hear them, or maybe thinking I could. They would say things like, he thinks he's going to be an author. And I remember, yes, it's funny now, right? It's funny now. I've written 50-some books. I've got bestsellers. They're in all kinds of languages and bestsellers in Italy, as well as I can go on and on. But there was no evidence in 1980 that I would ever be an author. I had to believe in myself first. I had to take the action. I had to pursue my dream, and I had to keep writing. So this is what I'm telling people. Believe in yourself. Another secret would be find people who believe in you too. Don't share your dreams with just anybody, because some people will rain on your parade. I am protective of my dreams even now. I tell only the people that can actually support me, or I feel that can support the ones who are going to be in my life, that I will share in confidence, my own dreams, my own goals. So wherever you are, it's temporary reality. Follow your passion, believe in yourself, surround yourself with people that believe in you, do resources like this, and your life can change dramatically and quickly.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Joe. We talked a little bit about you having a gift for the audience, for the listeners today.
I do. This is a really fantastic gift. I wrote a book called Attract Money Now. And Attract Money Now is a 7-step formula that takes people through their mindset and their belief system and how to change it, to how to think differently, how to take action and what action to take. Because I had heard from so many people who said they were struggling with money. And I realized, well, I went from homeless through poverty to now living the lifestyle of the rich and famous. And I wrote this book, revealed these 7 steps, and I decided I'd give it away. So I can't read it for people, I can't do it for people, but I can give it to people. And if they go to attractmoneynow.com, they can have it. www.attractmoneynow.com.
That's wonderful. Well, again, thank you so much for coming. I really enjoyed our conversation.
I loved it.
Privilege for me. So thanks again.
Oh, you're doing great work. Godspeed to you. You're making a difference in everybody's lives. I'm glad to be a part of it, and I'm honored that you asked me.
Thank you very much. And I just want to thank everyone for coming today and listening to Dr. Joe share his thoughts and his ideas, and also being, I haven't really said everything that I said today in one place. So also a little bit about what's driving me and what I'm all about. So that was fun too. So thank you for listening, and do tune in for other interviews, because every expert who's come to the table has a unique angle, a unique perspective on how to overcome adversity, to be happy, and to live the life of your dreams. Everybody that I've interviewed has achieved it in their own way with their own signature. So thanks again, everyone, for coming, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.